Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my comments to on the budget. Mr. Speaker, before I go on, I'd just like to correct some mistruths that my colleague on the other side just made. One, he mentioned that we borrowed to the tune of 60 billion Ghana cedis. Unless their 2025 budget is wrong. Go to page 14, paragraph 143. It says 49.4 billion cedis and not the 60 billion. Unless your 2025 budget was wrong. Two, and Mr. Speaker, this is the total debt of the country from independence to date. Mr. Speaker, again, he said he inherited an economy that was in a mess. An economy that was in a mess left 1 trillion of GDP as against 219 billion Ghana cedis in 2016. An economy that was in a mess, Mr. Speaker, we left 4 months of import cover, close to $9 billion. An economy that was in a mess. Mr. Speaker, again, he also mentioned that the IMF program was derailed. That is not correct, and that is not true. We were here when the finance minister mentioned that when he came, he inherited an arrears to the tune of 68.7 billion, and based on that, he used it to calculate the deficit. Just last week, he came to correct himself, and I was expecting that he will go back to the numbers and correct it. He said they have validated the arrears of 68 billion, and it's only 47.4 billion that is recognized arrears. So that if it is 47.4 billion that is recognized arrears, how then do you consistently use 6.8 to prove a point? They will have to check their data. There is a problem, and this boils down to the credibility of the budget, Mr. Speaker, and that should be checked. Mr. Speaker, we left a growth of 5.7%. Today, I'm happy that their budget, they claim, is on resetting for growth, jobs, and economic transformation. But Mr. Speaker, what do you see? Half year, they have 6.3% of GDP growth. And yet, they are claiming that growth at the end of the year will be 4.8%. How is that, Mr. Speaker? Half year, you have a growth rate of 6.3%. End of the year, you are saying your growth rate will be 4.8%. I was hoping that when the minister was reading the budget, based on the improvements that they claim they have seen in the economy, they were going to adjust that figure to reflect reality. But here we are, he's saying that end year growth rate will still be 4.8, when half year is 6.3. Mr. Speaker, this budget, we are told, is transformative. What is transformational about this budget? Mr. Speaker, you are adding close to 50 billion in expenditure to the 2026 budget from 2025 budget. But what do we see in the growth numbers? A paltry 0.1% growth. They are forecasting that growth will increase to 4.9% from 4.8%. After the Nkukwan Kitinkiti, after the 200 schools and machinery and all the things they are saying they are going to do, Mr. Speaker, it is not reflecting in the growth. I'll take you to paragraph 41 of the budget, table 4. Mr. Speaker, look at the ECOWAS sub-region growth rates and look at the growth rates of Ghana. These are countries that we are on the same level with. Benin will grow at 7% in 2025, and then in 2026 grow at 6.7%. Mr. Speaker, Burkina Faso will grow at 4% in 2025, and in 2026, 4.8%. Cote d'Ivoire, very close to us, on the same level, will grow at 6.4%. Here we are, Ghana, 4.8%, and adding an additional 50 billion in expenditure, you are growing at 4.9%. When half year, you claim you are doing 6.3%. Mr. Speaker, the numbers are not telling that story. It is not adding up. So, Mr. Speaker, if you tell Ghanaians that this budget is focused on growth, and yet your growth numbers, what you are hoping to achieve with all the inputs that you are putting in, clearly there is something wrong, and they ought to recheck the numbers again. Mr. Speaker, but you must ask yourself, why do we see a dip in industry numbers? Industry fell from 7.1% to 3.2%. Mr. Speaker, do you know why? It is because of the 1D, 1F that has been cancelled and other growth opportunities that have been taken away from the budget that needed to be continued to make sure that we propel the growth that we had already begun, because we closed growth at 5.7 in 2024. So, Mr. Speaker, it is the numbers that they have channeled that I'm speaking to. Yes. And so our majority leader will note that it is the numbers in the book that we are speaking to. And Mr. Speaker, let me also look at, let's look at infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we are not seeing that growth is because of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, every infrastructure is infrastructure. So that you cannot tell us that the Accra-Kumasi Road will be done in 2027 and that you have funds to do other equally important roads that you haven't even begun. But here we are, the Accra-Kumasi Road. People take 8 good hours from Accra to Kumasi. Lots of working time, business time, economic time, Mr. Speaker. And so we have Accra-Kumasi. It is to a certain rate. And we are asking, every infrastructure is infrastructure. Why don't you complete that one? And yet you are asking us, you will do so in 2027, Mr. Speaker. If this budget is a budget of growth, then they should look at this, because it is also very, very important. Mr. Speaker, one other thing that the teaming youth keep asking, not where is the 24-hour economy you promised us? You promised Ghanaians 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. You promised Ghanaians 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. Where is it? Clearly, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the funding in the budget, on one page it says 90 million. On another page it says 110 million. So this is what I'm speaking to. Even the numbers in the budget are not adding up. Mr. Speaker, if this is dear to your heart and the theme of your budget is growth, jobs, and economic transformation, and the 24-hour economy which says 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts, you are putting just 110 million or 90 million, then clearly you are just speaking to it and not actually making sure that it happens. Mr. Speaker, here we are, we claim, we all see the menace of Galamsey. But Mr. Speaker, it also has to do with the issue of joblessness. In as much as we're trying to reduce the menace of Galamsey, Mr. Speaker, the youth were promised jobs. The youth were promised jobs. So, Mr. Speaker, I expect us to do more. And if the theme of the budget says growth, jobs, and economic transformation, then the numbers here are not telling that story. Because after all said and done, it is the numbers, it is the money, the allocation that you put into it that will see to the implementation of your policy. So, Mr. Speaker, that has also been found wanting. And then, Mr. Speaker, there's another important thing that I believe that we should all avail our minds to. Mr. Speaker, that has to do with the fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, in the same budget, paragraph 1009, the minister said that the devastation caused by illegal mining has gone far beyond economics. It threatens our survival. That is what the minister said. It threatens our survival. So, Mr. Speaker, if something threatens your survival, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to fight it to make sure you survive. And how can you fight it when, with a ministry of 2.1 billion budget, you only give the agency to fight it 150 million Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker? 150 million Ghana cedis out of the 2.1 billion budget given to the Ministry of Lands and Forestry. Mr. Speaker, when I compare it to the total budget, when you take out your compensation and you compare it to the total budget, 150 million, you compare it to the total budget, the contribution is 0.003%. 0.003%, Mr. Speaker. So how can you say that it goes beyond economics and it threatens our survival? if you put such an amount in there, are you telling Ghanaians that you are fighting it, or you are just putting out words and playing with Ghanaians? Mr. Speaker, like I said, the Galamsey issue also has to do with jobs. And so we were thinking that beyond that, government was going to put some monies into the alternative livelihoods so that you can take them off, some jobs for them to do. Mr. Speaker, in this same budget, you look at the monies that were allocated to the alternative livelihoods, just 35 million Ghana cedis. Just 1% of the 2.1 billion Ghana cedis under Ministry of Lands and Forestry. Now, Mr. Speaker, we all know, the minister has also quoted, that this threatens our survival. Our major rivers are recording very high turbidity levels, and which is far above the WHO guidelines for safe drinking water. Our rivers are polluted and they are poisoned. Mr. Speaker, the media reports that there's rising still beds, there's increased cancer and chronic diseases, farmlands rendered sterile, and fish stocks shrinking and malformed. Mr. Speaker, and so if you say that it threatens our survival, I don't expect you to put 0.003% of the total budget into something that threatens your survival. Mr. Speaker, the Galamsey menace is a war. If it's a war, then this budget, Mr. Speaker, this budget is telling us that it's like we are in a battlefield with plastic chairs instead of armors to fight and make sure we win this. Because if you send 150, which is 7% of the total budget of the Ministry of Lands and Forestry, and 0.003%, then clearly it is not a matter of survival. It is just a matter of words. Words, fluffy words, that don't have any meaning. But Mr. Speaker, we need to rise above that. This is hurting us, this is killing us, this is poisoning our food. And so we need to do something more than that. I expect that before we approve this budget and pass appropriation, the minister would have amended the monies given to fight Galamsey and also to improve on the alternative livelihoods of people who are wage of Galamsey. Yeah. That is when you can tell me that this is really threatening our survival, and so you're doing something about it. Yeah. But Mr. Speaker, all said and done, I believe that we should have a Galamsey emergency program with real financing. Because even Mr. Speaker, let me quote one thing that President Mahama said on the 3rd of October 2025. He said that Ghana needs a substantially bigger budget than what is currently available if the country is to win the fight against illegal mining. This was on 3rd of October. The budget was taken to cabinet. President Mahama got the opportunity to view the budget, and he knew how much was going to be used to fight Galamsey. Because of what he said, that we need a substantially bigger budget, I was expecting that he advises the minister to put in more than he has put in the budget for Galamsey. So, Mr. Speaker, I am asking, I'm proposing, and I believe that it is the wish, it is the heart desire of our citizens out there that we come up with a Galamsey emergency program with real financing, so that, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to address this menace. It is killing us, it is hurting us, and that will come back to hurt the economy. It will move beyond the economic to us, our survival. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask of you that the House will agree with me that it is something we should do. But all said and done, one last thing I want to put on record is that, Mr. Speaker, I am happy with the value for money office that they want, the minister wants to set. But I want to advise him. PPA is already doing that. PPA has that mandate. So why set up another office, incur more costs? The whole idea is very good. Mr. Speaker, that whole idea of value for money office is very, very good. But, Mr. Speaker, there is already an office set up for this. Transformation does not mean new offices. Transformation also means building their capacity, giving them what they ought to be given so that they can fight some of these things. Then I understand the minister.
Honourable member, conclude.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to this edition of the program. It's 24 minutes past the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Tonight, we have an exclusive interview with Mohamed Amin Anta, former Minister for Finance and MP for Karaga in the northern region. He is here with us. Of course, Mohamed Amin has extensive experience in financing. He used to be at the Ministry of Energy. He's actually an energy financing expert, but I think he started his career as an economist. And he became an energy expert. And then he worked at the Ministry of Finance. Many appreciated his role for the final 1 year of the NPP as Minister of Finance. The big debate is what is happening right now in 2025. Should we attribute it to the policy planning of Mohamed Amin Anta in 2024, or should we attribute it to Case Lato Forsen? The jury is out there. There's a big debate on that no finance minister takes office in January and can attribute changes in the economy, market changes in the economy to him. But have there really been market changes in the economy? Mohamed Amin Anta will give us the minority opinion of the 2026 budget, which was read in Parliament last week. So that's our big conversation for today. Now, though, let's get onto the touch screen. And the other day I talked about General Achampong, isn't it? There he is. There he is. General Ignatius Kutu Achampong, and I said a lot of good things about him. Now, the public lecture is happening on 25th November. It's a Tuesday. I'm hoping to be there. I'm dying to be there. It's by Nana Kobena Nketia, who is Paramount Chief of Esikado Traditional Area and is the President of the Western Region House of Chiefs. The chairperson will be Professor Yao Edu Jemfi, consultant and professor. I think he's a physician. So the public lecture, a reflection on General Achampong from public memory and Ghana's leadership on historiography. Now, when I said these things about Achampong, I had a few people call in. One of them is no less a person than the venerable journalist Kweku Baku Jr. Kweku Baku Jr. called me about it, and he was concerned, and I agree with him. He was concerned that in eulogizing Achampong, I did not make reference to the point that however you can eulogize Achampong, you can't take away from the conversation the fact that he was an illegality as a head of state. He was a walking illegality as a head of state because he seized power by the barrel of the gun. Kweku Baku's argument, and which is a good argument, is that we should not let posterity feel, we should not let the young generation feel that you can take the gun and shoot out a constitutional order and become president, and because you build roads, you build Dansoman estates, you build the University of Ghana Nexus, you build the El-Wak Stadium, and then that cleans up the illegality of taking the barrel of the gun to become a president. I think that point must be well made, and I'm hoping that Kobena Nketia will make that point. But then we can go beyond that and see what has happened. And I mean, for lawyers, they will argue the Kelsenites theory. There's something in law called the Kelsenites theory, which sort of grants legitimacy, theoretical legitimacy to a military coup d'etat. It's a very theoretical conversation. It's Kelsen. You can Google it and check. I think it's K-E-L, something like that. Apriku will tell me. Kelsenites theory is a constitutional legal theory that suggests that once a coup d'etat is overcome and people begin to obey the government, then it gains some sort of legitimacy. Political scientists will disagree with that and say that a government must have both political legitimacy and legal legitimacy. Legal legitimacy is what the military people always can't get. They can never get it because you have to come legally. So if you don't come through the legal channel to become president, for the longest time of your life as a government, you will lack legal legitimacy. But you may have political legitimacy when politically you're accepted. But the lawyers who support the Kelsenite theory will say that once the government has overcome the military situation and the confusion, and once the public service begins to obey the new government, that grants them enough legitimacy to go. So General Achampong, it has to be said about him that he took the gun and took over power, which we don't want, which we believe that at this stage we've crossed it. We're never going to get there again, hopefully. So that point must be made irrespective of what he did. Nonetheless, I will be at the lecture to hear what Nana Kobena Nketia had to say. Part of the reason why Achampong can look like an angel is that those who came after him and those who criticized him for the things that he did happened to have done much, much worse. He was killed for taking a loan, or he was killed for removing the government. The people who killed him, they later also came to remove the government. The people who killed Achampong in 1979 and said that he had removed the Busia government and that was his crime for treason. That's why he was shot. The same people in 1981, they removed another constitutional government. They did exactly the same thing what Achampon did, for which reason they killed him. And that's part of why sometimes we forget that Achampon himself came in illegitimately. But the point must be clearly made, and that point is made. I salute you, General, nonetheless, but please, next time, no coup d'etats. We want genuine political leaders. That's our first story gone now. Okay, we are still on the military, and I saw something very interesting, yeah? I like the way they put the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense behind me. Now, the process of the recruit process, terrible as it is, as it has always been, this time the negatives got to a crescendo, and everybody was complaining about deaths, because when people die, I mean, all the time they were doing these things at El Wak Stadium, the fear was always that these things can cause a stampede one day. I mean, from 2014, 2011, whenever we started seeing people at the El Wak Stadium, those of us who live in Accra, you saw people at the El Wak Stadium in central Accra, near the cantonment area. You always suggest to yourself that, look, this thing it can get very bad. And eventually it happened. Our greatest fears came to pass when we heard that 5 young women, were they 6 or 5? 6 young women, and all of them women. All of them women. That was the saddest part of it, that 6 young women have died on this matter. Now, we hear that the government is beginning tomorrow to do the process again. And there's a few words of caution that I believe that the government itself has taken. I saw a video by Siddiq Adams. They call him Sports Obama. He speaks on Angel FM. These days, because of him, I've added Angel FM to my morning show review. So I start from Peace and I go all the way, and I listen to Siddiq Adams as well. This is what he was saying. Have a look at it.
Fiora, the root cause of the AC or honey is Sikasem. Men are make a trail say, almost soldier for the yentum. But root cause of numbers no more apply now. Sika. Because combining the past 60,000, which is not the accurate number. 200 cities times 60,000, near 12 million Ghana cedis. 120 billion old cities. Ekwahi. Dear improvement in a week. Ura Henry Tebekana last year say nipa more apply for security service in 1 year. 90,000. No more here 3,000. Less than 14%. Enti ya dear way and number 1961. Daily graphic. Omo peso ja 4. Akatua de be mom wom. E dan on bede wom. Yes, ye de ombetu kwan. Yes, Ghana for so me join soja 1961 Ghana. And na ye ton forms. Na NBA for ya ji omusika na ya famu 3%. Enti se de ye ni nyina no ye jai sika de na. Omo ni beba ho se omo apply nyina no obi antueska. Now within 1 week, more close no. And no na ye suggest ya anya adwuma omuguso ama manfo delay in 2025 say stadium e fa nipa 10,000. Stadium e fa nipa 10,000. Modi nipa 20,000 aba ho say omo be exercise. E da so ade aba gina omo so hey idiot hey enemrem soja.
I'm going to say something that's at once controversial and also very sad. And I'm happy with the beautiful building of the Ministry of Defense. Now, this was constructed by the John Kufuor administration. The Minister Kwame Ado-Kufuor must take credit for it. He was the minister in charge when this was constructed. It was opened in 2009 during the Professor Mills era, but fully constructed. It almost looks like the American Pentagon, but it's much smaller, of course. Now, this is what depicts the image of the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ministry of Defense. This is fantastic. It is important for the Ghana Armed Forces to ensure in these modern days that everything that represents the armed forces must lift up the image to look like this. I hope I'm making some sense. So if the armed forces are marching on Independence Day or whenever, the quality of the drill must match the beauty and the elegance of the Ministry of Defense. If the armed forces are on a saving mission, there's floods and they've gone in to save people, the quality of their work, the coordination thereof, if they are doing NIMOS, everything the armed forces does must reflect that authority, that distinction, that elegance that we see with the American armed forces and many armed forces even in Africa, in Egypt, South Africa. Armed forces work with precision, quality, elegance. And the message that the armed forces always communicate to the general public is that of excellence, dignity, elegance. That must reflect in everything. Surely, that does not reflect in the way we recruit our people. This is 2025, And that's why I like Sadiq Adams. Look at this photograph. Put this photograph up, let them see it. If we are recruiting, and the armed forces themselves, the military police people standing there, are they happy about this? If we are recruiting people in the armed forces, should we treat them like they are criminals? They should come and sit on the floor. I mean, why do we do that? Yes, it's been happening all the time, but this is President Mahama, who is the one who can do the reset. I don't know whether in the revised things that they've said for tomorrow's practice, even the tone of the language that came from the DPR, that those who don't comply, they'll be sacked. There's fights going on between Dr. Kwesi and Oliver Vermaho and the armed forces over the suggestion that those who died, their relatives, will automatically be taken. That's a cover-up. With the greatest of respect to Buja Jemfi, that is a cover-up. People died out of dereliction of duty, out of negligence, out of incompetence of planning. Then you don't address that. Nobody resigns. Nobody is sacked. Then they come and tell us that we'll take their relatives. Are we really serious? That's what Dr. Eni said on Joy FM. Are we really serious in this country? Somebody must take the responsibility. Then they cover up. Because we are poor people, they are always giving us something. That's what Senor Jose was saying about Galamsey, that our brains are small, small-minded, small. You go and give them money. Every time, give them money. The dereliction of duty, the negligence that occasioned the murder of 5 young women, nobody wants to talk about it. 6 young women. Nobody wants to talk about it. We are not talking about how they died, why they died, what happened, what should they have died. Human beings, look, go to America. 1 person dies in America. You see the whole American armed forces coming. The whole American authority is marshaled. 6 young women have died. Nothing about who caused it. Nothing about any punishment for anybody. The Minister for Defense comes to say that the solution is that the people who died, their relatives should come and join the army, so that they should also come to Elwak at 2 a.m. But they should make sure that they are in the queue, and they should make sure that they sit on the floor. Look at this. Why is it that when we are recruiting soldiers, the armed forces is the dignity of any society? Any modern society, the armed forces is the dignity of the modern society. Why do we do this? When we are recruiting lawyers, do we tell them to come and sit on the floor like that? Look at lawyers being recruited. I like the way you put the photograph together. Please put it on the screen. Let them see it. Now, viewers, look on the left side of the screen. The right side of your screen. On the right side of your screen, they are recruiting lawyers. New lawyers that are going to start law school. Look at the way they present them. On the left side of your screen, they are recruiting soldiers. Look at the way they present them. What kind of society are we? And the armed forces themselves, are you happy with this? The Ghana Bar Association and the General Legal Council will never sit down and say that lawyers that are being recruited should on the floor. Because the lawyers came from Abuja, or where did they come from? We have to show the dignity of work. It doesn't matter whether it is lawyer, whether it is doctor, whether it's a carpenter, it's a police officer, it's a soldier. That is the mark of a modern society, and we better get there quickly. We are too late. Let us hurry up and get there. Tomorrow, they shouldn't let the soldiers sit on the floor like this. It is wrong. Very, very wrong. It's inhuman. You can't do that. And then you are making the people feel so bad so that when they come and they are soldiers, they are angry and they are meting it out to people. They will mete it out to all kinds of people. They will be violent because this is what you're asking them to do. They want to be soldier. Some of those people sitting down, they are holding an SSC certificate that is capable of going to study anything at the university. But for all you know, they don't have 1,300 cedis to pay the university forms. They don't have it. They don't have 800 cedis. They don't have it. 2,000 cedis. They don't have it. 1,600. They don't have it. So Eno Abena, who has a 6th child, who has gone to T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School. He got 8 A's in T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School. He wants to go to KNUST to study engineering. And no man says, where am I going to take the money from? Every day I earn 30 cedis. And that's what I used to feed you people. Your father died 100 years ago, sometime years ago. And so the young man who is holding a certificate that says 8 A's, he cannot go to KNUST. Nobody will help him. He sees the advert. He goes to an uncle, borrows 200 cedis, buys the forms. He wants to be soldier. They put him on the floor like this. Like this, on the floor. You should sit down. Sit down, and they shout on them. Hurry up, they will kill you. Sit down. What is that? Is that how America recruits its army? Is that how UK recruits its army? Don't we have the same democracy that they have? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? This must stop. This thing must stop. The way we recruit soldiers. When you are recruiting lawyers there, they should wear something in their neck and come and sit down and sing, "Abide with me, abide with me." They should do that. But when you are recruiting soldiers, you kick them, sit down on the floor, hurry up, you see what we'll do to you. I dare say that the soldiers are more important than the lawyers. The military is more important than the lawyers, because the day the thing becomes keke, it is the military who will go and sustain it, so that the lawyers have peace of mind to practice the law. For the lawyers to have the peace of mind, for the parliamentarians to have the peace of mind to go to parliament, it is the establishment of the security service. They establish that everything is peaceful. And when you are recruiting them, you treat them like this. They should sit on the floor, like we've been doing that, sir. Every president has been doing it. Is it not time for us to change? And the next thing, last thing I say, we will not let that dereliction of duty go unpunished. Whoever's responsibility it was, I heard Captain Smart talking about some lieutenant colonel who didn't come to work early, blah, blah, blah. Whoever's responsibility it was that those people died, that person must be punished. We can't cover up. Broja Jemfi is trying to cover up that, oh, don't worry, they died, but we'll recruit them into the army. You think the army was their first choice, the ladies who died? You think the army was their first choice? Maybe it wasn't. They are not getting anything to do. So they decide to go to military. Maybe it's not their first choice. You are imposing their third choice on the family, that they should stay at third choice because somebody has died. Whoever was responsible for the death ought to be named and shamed and punished. That's how a modern society behaves. They are signaling me that my time is running. I don't want to say more. Okay, I'll leave it there. Another thing that worries me is the flooding. You see, the flooding has been going on for a long time. Okay, they have to change the background so that our videos don't get confused. Yes, the flooding has been going on for a long time. And when President Mahama became president, we were all very happy when he instituted an anti-flooding something. This is what it's called. The Anti-Flood Task Force was set up on 12th of March 2025. On the 13th of March, the following day, the task force embarked on aerial reconnaissance to assess Ghana's flood-prone areas. This is what happened. You see, I'm sad because this is what we do. And then the citizens lose interest in the democracy. They lose interest in it. We set up an anti-flood task force on 12th of March. Since that time till today, I'm going to show you on the touch screen. There's been plenty flooding. Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed in our flooding profile and the damages that the flooding caused. Zero has changed. Nothing has happened. We are waiting for transition period. Then the new incoming government will come and say that, hey, Ghanaians, anti-flood task force spent 25 million cedis on nothing. Then we all go gaga. Hey, they've chopped money, oh. Politicians, they have stolen the money, oh. How can a government set up an anti-flooding task force? Then every day flooding is happening. They don't tell us anything. Nothing happens. Let me show you. So this is what happened. All right. So this poster is from GBC. President Mahama sets up anti-flood task force, conducts helicopter recce to assess Ghana's flood-prone areas. This is a photograph of members of the task force sitting in a helicopter going around the country to look for flood-prone areas. 12th of March, it was set up. Okay, the task force is constituted by very important people. Stanislav Hossedogbe is a Deputy Chief of Staff of Operations. He's the chairman. Kenneth Gilbert Ajay is the Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing. He's on it. Ahmed Ibrahim, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, is the Minister for Local Government. He's on it. Then DCOP Abdul Usman Razak is the National Security Coordinator. He's on it. And then Teddy Addy is the Deputy Director General of NADBO. He's on it. And then Marietta Brew, Madam Marietta Brew is the legal counsel to the president. She's also on it. These are the people. This is the chairman of the flood task force, Stan Dogwe. This is the Honorable Kenneth Gilbert Ajay. Nice man. He is the Minister for Works and Housing. He's also on it. This is Ahmed Ibrahim, Minister for Local Government, also on the flood task force. DCOP Abdul Osman Razak, National Security Coordinator. He's also on the flood task force. And then Teddy Addy is the Deputy Director General of NADBO. He's on the flood task force. And then former Attorney General, Madame Marietta Brew, who is now legal counsel to the president of the task force. These important people, they constituted the task force from 12th March up to today, viewers. Every day flooding. Every day flooding. Nothing has happened. How much money has gone into the task force meetings or whatever it is? We don't know. We will only find out during the transition. It's at the transition that we will be told that, hey, flood task force, 25 million. Why are we doing this? Now, when we do that, the people who are following the democracy, they begin to wonder, what is this? You set up a flood task force with important people. Every day, we don't hear anything from them. Now, let's go here. On 20th May, the National Disaster Management Organization has announced that it does not have enough relief items to support all the people displaced by the heavy rains that hit parts of Accra on Sunday, 18th May. Flood task force is set up in March, 12th March. They went to assess the situation of the flood-prone areas. They went to assess it. Good, they did a recce. The NADMO boss is a member of the flood task force. It includes the Minister for Works and Housing, a Deputy Chief of Staff who is chairing, the Minister for Local Government, the Minister for National Security. All of these people are part of the flood task force. However, on the 20th of May, NADMO is telling us that it does not have enough relief items to support all the people displaced by the flooding. On 20th May, this is what NADMO said, that on the flood of 18th May, they can't do anything about it. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? Is that rocket science? Is it difficult? Why do we do that? Are we that incapable? I'm confused. Are we that incapable of managing these things and even communicating it? This is a government that has shown a lot of alacrity when it comes to communication. They are very sharp on communication. Everyone too, they're on the press conference. Even the Attorney General is running press conferences every time there's a press conference. And they have not done a press conference on this government accountability series. My friend Felix Kwachio Fosu has been running government accountability series. Where is the government accountability series on the work of the National Task Force? What is happening? We already have a NADMO. We knew that we had a NADMO. We put NADMO aside and set up a National Task Force. It means the president is giving it big time attention. Look at some of these floods. This is the flood on the 18th May. 18th May. Just 2 months after the flood task force, they had 2 months brief period where there was no flooding. The first flooding came 2 months after they were set up. They couldn't do anything about it. Let's move on back onto the touch screen. This one is 5th August, another flood. Flooding on Kaswa Budubram stretch triggers major gridlock, leaving motorists stuck for hours. This was 5th August 5. That one too, 0, nothing happened. Then this one was October 7th. Many commuters and motorists stranded as heavy rains flood parts of Accra. Still, task force is there. Nothing happens. The same October 7th, another day, another downpour in Accra. Here is the flooding situation at Ofanko on the Nsawam Highway. Another flood. Nothing happens. Then, November 7th, heavy Friday downpour leaves Jowulu flooded. Jowulu, Osu, and all of these campuses are getting flooded. What we are asking is, where is the government accountability series on this one? Where is it? Where is the government accountability series? We don't have it. Where is the government accountability series on this one? Is there government accountability series? If you know, please send us a text on Good Evening Ghana Official. Send us a text on that one, and then we can do. Do you have some text coming in? Yeah, let's hear a text, and then we have one more story from course. Then we go to the interview. Okay. Yes, please. What are people saying?
All right. Thank you, Paul. So coming from Master Planner Junior all the way from Ken Tampo, he says President Mahama is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, so you can't leave him out of the equation. When the Techiman South shooting incident by the military happened, the NDC made us understand that it was the responsibility of the then President Nana Addo to prevent that. What has changed today? Albasset also says, sitting in a helicopter to detect flood-prone areas is sad and a misplaced approach. In this age of technology, you don't need a publicity flight. You need GIS experts, remote sensing data, and hydrological modeling. The science already tells us where the vulnerabilities are. What we lack is leadership that applies the data, not leaders staging spectacles. Bernard Dancer says, I hear the Member of Parliament for Pusiga say the avoidable stampede tragedy that took the 6 innocent lives was ordained. Wow. Ordained by who? Even with the current age restrictions, The GAF is unable to contain the crowd, and Honorable and his colleagues want the age restrictions raised to age 35. Can you imagine what will happen? Anyway, the rest should take care of themselves. Philip Asuba says this from a friend. I was in the US Navy some years ago, and the recruitment process was and is still simple. There are recruiting stations wherever you are. You simply show up and tell the recruiters you are interested in joining whichever branch you want, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and all you need to do is get an excellent score on an exam the recruiter will ask you to take on a computer, mostly English and math questions. The only thing is to make sure you have no criminal history or any history of taking bad drugs. Austin says the whole training is just punishment. I don't understand why that is the mode of training. They say obey before complain. Diamond also comes to say, so you can imagine what they do to them at their training school. They make it look like military is all about bullying and intimidation. And lastly, coming from Junior Akbar Tamale says, this is very sad. What kind of recruitment is this, Mother Ghana? Now back to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Fatih. So what's happening in the Dubois trial? What's going on? Now, there are 4 men here who are very instrumental to the trial. The learned Attorney General appointed under Article 88, the principal legal advisor to the government and the lead prosecutor. Kwabena Edubwai, formerly of the National Signals Bureau, an intelligence officer who is first accused. The learned Achian Samuel, former member of parliament, former minister, who is lead counsel for Kwabena. And Dr. Stremsai, who is the deputy attorney general, who is actually the lawyer in court for the government. Now, the case is moving quite fast, as you may have heard. And you know that we report the case every now and then here on television. In reporting the case on television, we always have to be careful not to run foul of the contempt threshold. And so we are going to be guided by that as we have been guided by it all the time. Today, we're going to lead you into one of the important cross-examinations that have happened in the Kwabena Edubwai trial. Okay, let's go to it. Now, it's a cross-examination of can we start? Yes. Okay, they're going to put it together. It's a cross-examination of a lady. Yes, her name is the PW2, and PW2 is called Ruby Opokuwa Edumwa. Now, she was in charge of the finance and administration of the National Signals Bureau. So how it works is that when there's a criminal trial, the prosecution will begin to build their case. So the prosecution have the charge. They charge the accused person. The defense, they charge them. So there's a charge sheet. And the charge says that you so-and-so accused of stealing contrary to section Okay. So the prosecution opens their case in court and sort of merely announces the charges to the judge and to the court. The judge already knows, everyone already knows, but they have to put it on record. So they announce it again and say that we are prosecuting for this, that. They also tell the court that in prosecuting, we are going to be calling Mr. XYZZZZ to support our case. And that's what they call them, prosecution witnesses. You may have heard something about some people who are being accused now becoming prosecution witnesses. That's a matter for another day. Today, we are not on that yet. So the lady called Opokuwa, can I get the first page again? Ruby Opokuwa Edumwa is one of such prosecution witnesses. She's a director of finance for the National Signals Bureau, and Kwabena Edubwai is being prosecuted for acts and omissions, or omissions and acts of something he's alleged to have done in his capacity as the Director General of the National Signals Bureau. So in that capacity, this prosecution witness 2, Ruby Opokuwa Edumwa, was Kwabena's head of finance. And so they are talking about money. They are alleging that some money has been either stolen or misappropriated. So it's important that the head of finance comes to testify. And the head of finance is testifying for the prosecution against her former boss. That's what she's testifying against. So that's the stage that you need to understand. So okay, so they want me to go straight to it. So the theme 1 is the testifying to save herself. Now, the lawyers for Kwabena Edubwai seem to be suggesting to the court that the entire testimony of Madame Ruby is designed for Madame Ruby to save herself one way or the other from prosecution. That's what the lawyers are saying. That's not what we are saying. That's what the lawyers for Kwabena Eduboah, Atache and Co. seem to be suggesting to the court. And here is how we know that. So we go straight to the question and answer. So there's a question here that, have you ever filed an asset declaration form? Ruby says, no, my lord. Atache says, do you remember the last statement you wrote out for the benefit of Iyoko? Ruby says, I do not remember. Atache says, is that the statement? So Atache shows her the statement. Says, is that the statement that you signed out for the benefit of Iyoko? She says, yes, my lord. And Atta says that, and you wrote it yourself? And then she says, yes, my lord. And Atta goes on to say that, what is the date on the statement? Then she says, 9th May 2025. Then Atta says that, do you know when the accused persons were arraigned before this honorable court? Then she says, no, my lord, I do not know. So her statement is signed, her statement that she gave to Iyoko is dated 9th May. And so counsel for the defense asked her that, your statement is dated 9th May. Do you remember when the accused persons came to court? Because normally the statements are taken before you come to court. The statements are part of the investigation. So they are taken and then you come to court. So by the time you come to court, you have done your statement already. So she says she did her statement on the 9th of May. And then the lawyer is asking that, do you know when the accused persons were arraigned? She says, no, she doesn't know. Okay, then the lawyer gives her something, a document, and says, have a look at the charge sheet. She gives her the charge sheet. What date is filed? And then she says, my lord, it's 30th of April, 2025. Then Atache says, I suggest to you that that was the date the accused persons were arraigned before this honorable court. And then she says, my lord, I am not aware. Then Atta goes on, I suggest to you that after the arraignment of the accused persons before this honorable court, you gave the statement you referred to dated 9th May 2025. Then she says, yes, my lord. What the lawyer is trying to say is that the statement that you have written, you wrote it after the accused persons were arraigned. You didn't write it as part of the investigation, even though you were also interrogated. And when you were interrogated, you wrote a statement. But by the time you wrote the statement, it wasn't 30th of April. 30th of April is when they arraigned them. And your statement says 9th of May. So the lawyer is trying to understand, why is there a statement after the people have been arraigned? I'm not too sure what he's getting to. But these are the facts of the matter. Another question comes in. Even against the backdrop that you were investigated by Iyoko, you were not charged. This one is what I missed. The question is, from the document you are holding, you were not charged with any offense. She agrees, says, yes, my lord. Then Atta says that even against the backdrop that you were investigated by Iyoko, you were not charged. She says, yes, my lord. And the lawyer says, and you were very happy for that. It's a question. Then she says, yes, my lord. My lord, I believe investigations are supposed to find out the truth. So if Iyoko deems it fit that I am not charged, I cannot comment about it. Good answer. Oh, well, I shouldn't comment on whether it's good or bad. I take that back. Atta says that the 3 statements you mentioned that you delivered to Iyoko, they have excluded the statements you signed out to Iyoko on the 9th of May 2025. Is that not so? She says, no, my lord. My lord, for clarity's sake, I wrote 3 statements, including this one. So the counsel for the defense is saying that the lady says that she wrote 3 statements. Only one has come. And the one that has come is actually dated beyond the time that the accused persons were arraigned. That's the point that the lawyer is trying to get to. And then she agrees. Then the lawyer then makes an application to the court as follows. Counsel for the accused persons. My lord, at this juncture, this Atachian speaking, my lord, at this juncture, we pray for your order for the 2 other statements to enable me continue with the cross-examination. The court, counsel for the Republic, is hereby ordered to retrieve the said 2 other statements from Iyoko and file same not later than the close of day of tomorrow, 13th November 2025. Counsel may continue with cross-examination on a different line pending the filing of the statement ordered to be filed. Okay, so the judge agrees with Atachia that if the lady has written 3 statements and you brought only one to court, and the one you brought is actually dated beyond the time that the prosecution, the time that the accused persons were arraigned, then we need to see the other 2. And then the judge says, yes, prosecution, bring the other 2 statements. So we go on. We'll finish just now, don't worry. It says, the next one is, when you came into the space of Iyoko, they informed you that the interrogation is being recorded Is that not so? And then the lady says, yes, my lord. Then Atacha makes another application to the court. Counsel for the accused person says, my lord, I pray for an order that the voice recording be brought to court. Okay, so that's where the fight begins in court that day. So Atacha says there are three statements. You have one. We need both. He makes an application to the court. The application is granted immediately. The court says order it. Atacha further asked her that when you went to Yoko for interrogation, they recorded it, isn't it? The lady says yes, they did. They told me they were recording it. Atacha then makes application, my lord, we want that recording also. And then here is the response from Sermsai, counsel for the Republic. He says, respectfully, my lord, we are opposed to the request on grounds that the subject matter request does not satisfy the grounds for further disclosure. My lord, the Supreme Court recent decision is to all intents and purposes an obiter, and regardless of how elaborate the court puts it down, cannot constitute a ratio decidendi. Okay, good point. I believe she's making this point because Atacha may have argued that based on a Supreme Court decision, these recordings must be given. And the Deputy Attorney General is trying to distinguish, as they say, those Supreme Court decisions, calling them obiter. That's another conversation we can have. Obiter is not the main ruling. It's something that a judge says. The ratio decidendi is the main ruling. Ratio decidendi is Latin. Some say decidendi, which is the germane matter of. So if they take me to court or they take anybody to court and they say that you crossed the red traffic light, and the judge says that, yes, I believe that he crossed the red traffic light. I don't even like the black car he was using. Black cars are not very good because when you drive black cars in the afternoon, you can't see well. All of that, what the judge said, black cars are not very good. If you drive a black car in the afternoon, you can't see well. It's called obiter. It's not the main issue. The main issue that the judge was ruling was whether the accused person has crossed the red light or not. So Sermsai is saying, now what is important that can be imposed on the court is the ratio. Where Supreme Court has decided something, all other lower courts must follow the decision of the Supreme Court in a similar or the same matter. So sorry, I needed to digress to explain that. But let's get back onto the thing. So he says that the Supreme Court's thing was all not ratio. It continues. It says, my lord, this is the Attorney General speaking. The issues before the court is what determines what the ratio of a decision is. Correct. If the court decides to veer off and make pronouncements on matters which do not form part of the issues before it, and in respect of which arguments were never taken, the authorities on what constitutes judicial precedent is clear on the matter. And therefore, this court and all other courts are not in any way bound to follow a decision which is contrary to precedent. So the Attorney General opposed the point that the recordings from Yoko should also be brought to the court. He opposed it vehemently. He goes on to say, my lord, the precedent for this matter still stands, which is a Supreme Court well-considered decision in Bafuboni, which this court has digested in my lord's erudite, most immaculate ruling, which is that relevance is a key consideration in determining application for further disclosure, respectfully submitted. So the Attorney General is saying that the recording at Yoko is not relevant. And then Atacha said it's relevant. Eventually, the Atacha responded, but we will not take the response because we don't have time. And then the arguments continued. But eventually the court said, by court, the opposition is overruled. The audio recordings in the custody of Yoko in respect of the interrogation of Edith Ruby Opokuwa Adumwa, if any, be procured by the Attorney General and filed as a further disclosure, same to be filed not later than close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2025. So this is what happened. This is what happened in the court. So you get it, isn't it? Now the judge said, bring the other statements, bring also the audio requirements. So the Attorney General's opposition was overruled. All right. The cross-examination then continued. Atacha said, I put it to you that the only reason why Yoko admitted you to bail on pain of incarceration is because you were a suspect. So the lady said that when she went to Yoko, she was admitted to bail. And Atacha is trying to say that you were admitted to bail because you were a suspect. And then let's move on. She says, my lord, I do not know. And the question is, at the last sitting, you were making a comparison of two invoices which had the same invoice number, NSC006, generated by ISC Holdings Limited. Then kindly refresh your memory on this. So she says, yes, my lord. They give her some documents. Then the question is, the items as described in the two, these are the invoices for the purchase of the equipment that has become the center of this trial. The items as described in the two invoices are different. Is that not so? Says, my lord, there are two different items with the same invoice number. I remember I said we had not seen one for procurement of cyber defense systems in our payment records. What we had was the procurement of digitized investigative auditing systems with invoice number so and so in our records. Question is, with one of the invoices, it is addressed to you. It's addressed to who? He says, which one of the invoice addressed to who? He says, my lord, one is addressed to National Security Council, which was not the one we paid for. Then the question is, and the other is addressed to who? He says, my lord, the other is addressed to BNC Accra, Ghana. Okay. Then the question is there also NSC/BNC there? He says, my lord, it is BNC. Then the question is, can you see a customer ID on the invoice number so and so, which relates to digitized investigative audit system, exhibit B4? They show it to her. Says, my lord, the customer ID number is NSC. Okay. What is the customer ID number on the invoice relating to the cybersecurity equipment identified as the document? The answer is, my lord, the customer ID in relation to the procurement of the cyber defense system is NSC BNC. Question. So how do you come to know the invoices relating to the digitized investigative auditing systems? Then she says, my lord, the digitized investigative auditing systems, which is also NSC 006, was what we made payment for in our records. Then the question is, who delivers the invoices to you? Says, my lord, as I mentioned earlier, my boss is the one who sends it to me. Sometimes I am on copy in the email, but I still take instructions from my boss on what exactly to do. His boss is the first accused, Kwabena Dubois. Question is, when your boss has not sent a copy of the invoice to you and you are not kept in the loop in the email, you have no knowledge of the invoice. Is that not so? And said, yes, my lord. So the court then rules. Suit is adjourned to the 9th, 10th, and 11th December 2025 for continuation of cross-examination of second prosecution witness by counsel for the accused person. Witness steps down. So this is what happened. This is the latest. The lady is now being cross-examined. It turned out that two of the statements that she wrote, which the defense counsel were hoping to rely on, was not available. An application was made by Leonard Atachia. It was successful. That application initially was not opposed by Serem-Sai, the Deputy Attorney General, who is a lawyer on account. Then another application was made by Atachia that we want also the video recording, the video and the audio recording of the interrogation when you went to Yoko. And that was vehemently opposed by the Deputy Attorney General, but the court ruled against him. We do not know whether the Attorney General will be seeking to test this at the Court of Appeal, because he can file an appeal to the Court of Appeal asking the courts to, or maybe he can go with a straight application to the Supreme Court, an application in certiorari, to quash the decision of the High Court, to bring those things. We don't know whether that's what is happening. We are not sure. But right now, we also don't know whether those documents have been delivered. In fact, we have to check tomorrow with the courts whether those things have been delivered. But we don't know. But this is the latest on the Kwabena Dubois trial. So you can make how you want to see it, make it up in your mind. Let's see. Mohammed Amin Anta is going to educate us about the budget next. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we go straight to that one. We'll be right back with Mohammed Amin Anta.
So let's go to yesterday's floods, for instance. We've since received some briefing as to what accounted for the floods in some of the areas, yes. And from the briefing that we have gotten, the worst affected areas were the Ofankor Highway, the Shiashi area, Springtex, as you yourself can attest to, and Palace Mall area. And all of those floods around, the flood around these areas was as a result of the depression in the road, as well as the roadside drains that, you know, had not been functioning well because of, again, siltation, as we know. And we saw in some of your videos the crass behavior of some citizens pouring solid waste into drains, especially when it's raining, with the belief that the rainwaters will carry these solid waste to where? You know, that's the question, to where? You know, and so there's a very complex conundrum with this matter that, yes, we must use the instrument of policy, regulation, enforcement, but also attitudinal and behavioral consistent change, campaigns to ensure that citizens adopt the necessary habits that will inform our behavior even, before some of these flood situations. The second area that was mostly affected in Greater Accra region was the Lakeside, Ashie, and the environs. And for here, apparently, it's as a result of some individuals who had encroached the Mamahuma drain and filling the dam at Adenta Fulani area. So here again, we have a major problem with clogged drains, which perennially accounts for parts of the flooding, one of the reasons for the flooding that we have. So there's also a newly constructed drain in those areas, which also was heavily choked with solid waste.
In the same lakeside?
Yes, around the lakeside area. So the task force, as we know it, His Excellency put together a task force, and they did an aerial scan of Accra to look at the flood-prone areas and collaborating with various engineers. In fact, the desilting had started in some of the major drains, the Odo being the major project that continues to sit on government books, also because of the project. There's an ongoing IMF project that is looking really at dealing comprehensively with the flood and solid waste management. I think it's the Accra Resilience. I got the name earlier. I think I don't know. Yes, it's a very long. Yes. It's a long name. Gary.
The Gary project.
So the Ghana Greater Accra Resilient, then an integrated development project. Please, I'll get the name for you. So that project is currently ongoing. But again, I think this is the time to ask ourselves again about what we need. So Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project, which aims to improve the flood risk management and solid waste. And it's even expected to be completed towards next year. But the question is, have we really been able to desilt the Odo drainage, which is one of the objects of the project? We know that a lot of money was pumped into the sanitation sector in the last administration, but obviously there remains quite a lot of work to be done. If you ask me, how do we find a comprehensive solution to this perennial problem of flooding within the Greater Accra region? You would recall that as a long-term measure, His Excellency was at the Dodowa Park, I think on Friday that it was, during the thank you tour for the Greater Accra region, where he gave indications, strong indications, said again, about the prospects of moving the capital to, another location, just as we will be able to decongest Accra. Accra is obviously decongested. And if you look at the fast and rapid urbanization that, we are experiencing in most of our major capitals, Greater Accra region, Ashanti region, Western region, even Tamale, which is described as the fastest developing metropolis within the sub-region. You obviously know that it comes with problems with land use and problems with social service and access to those social services.
The president concerned about the perennial flooding situation that we face not only in Accra but across the country, decided to set up a special task force to start work to at least try and reduce, if not prevent, flooding within particularly the Accra metropolis as we prepare for the rains. So there's been a task force that has started working, and today we decided to go on an aerial tour so that the military and hydrology department of the Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing can show us the various channels and then where we have problems with drains that are silted that we need to work on. Our job is cut out, is to find out where we have challenges, where we have drains that are choked, that we need to desilt, and then where we have channels where the rainwater flows into the sea where there are problems, we can see what engineering and mechanical solutions we can find to it. So the next step is to go on a road recce, as General said, to visit some of the areas, and see what has to be done. From the air, yes, we saw the problem, but we need to go there and then work with the Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Local Government, and then the 48th Engineers Regiment to begin the
remarks. Shall we please welcome him with an applause, please?
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a deep sense of humility, gratitude, and solemn responsibility that I stand before you today on this historic occasion of my investiture as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. I wish first to thank the Almighty God for the wisdom, grace, and courage He has bestowed on me. I wish to express my deepest gratitude to His Excellency the President for appointing me to this high office, the Council of State for advising the President, and Parliament for graciously endorsing me. Your Excellency, as Chief Justice, I recognize that every court in our land, from the smallest magistrate court to the highest tribunal, holds a sacred duty to ensure that the rights, liberties, and human dignity of Ghanaians are respected and protected. It is not the law alone that matters, but how the law is applied, how justice is dispensed, and how courts earn the confidence of the people. We serve a nation built on the 1992 Constitution, which enshrines not only rights, but also responsibilities. Our judiciary must be independent, impartial, and accessible. It must not serve the powerful or the connected at the expense of the weak and the vulnerable. It must resist any incursions on its freedoms, but also embrace accountability, transparency, and continuous reform. In recent times, many Ghanaians have expressed concern about delays, access, and perceptions of fairness in our courts. I wish to confront those concerns head-on. The judiciary must not only be seen to be fair, but must be fair, clearing backlogs, reforming processes, promoting alternative dispute resolutions where appropriate, harnessing technology, and ensuring that ordinary citizens can approach the courts with confidence. These are not optional add-ons, but they are imperatives.
The Omoyene say ombeso mu Chief Justice we. No mu do Chief Justice ba. Oko constitution ni mu a ye will be a friend tribunal, regional tribunals. Ordinarily, any democratic constitution biano, it should not have what we call regional tribunals and arrestings. Now young what regional tribunals are under the constitution. Now regional tribunals, because J.J. Rawlings or no military mindset in or and the regional tribunals special constitution. Or say there shall be established in each region of Ghana such a regional tribunals as the Chief Justice may determine.
Okay, welcome back to the show. It's Good Evening, Ghana. Good evening, Honorable Member of Parliament, former Minister.
Good evening, Paul.
How does the budget work? Is it a tense situation? You've done it before. When you were looking at 247, what did you think? This is the first budget read in the night.
Yeah,
He started at 7 o'clock.
Yes, I think around 6 o'clock.
He started around 6.
6 o'clock, yes.
But by 9 o'clock, he was still on it.
Yeah, he finished before 9.
Okay.
But we left Parliament, I think, around 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And the next morning at 10 o'clock, we responded. 10 in the morning.
Oh, that's when you. Why did you know what he was going to say?
We were listening to him
and making notes.
Overall,
what would you say? I mean, there are things that the NDC talk about, but let me take your initial.
Well, but this is their second budget in the year, right? And they need to admit that the first year was a disaster. It was a year of inactivity.
2025?
2025 was a year of inactivity.
They don't think so.
Yeah, but that is the truth. Because if you want to implement a budget, your fiscal policy, the revenue and expenditure, when they break down, then there is no budget. Because if you look at this budget, the 2025 state of the economy shows that they never implemented many of their programs. Now, you have wages as one component of the budget. You have statutory transfers to get fund, NHIS, etc. Then you have interest payments. If you take that out, what was left for investment was 1.5% of GDP. But the minister at the end of the year spent 0.5% of GDP.
On what?
Of GDP.
On
capital investment.
Okay.
You know. So what does that mean? You budget to spend 32 billion Ghana cedis.
But they say they are reducing government expenditure. Could that not be the reason why?
No, you budget to spend 32 billion Ghana cedis. Quarter 1 to quarter 2, you have spent only 11 billion Ghana cedis.
Because they don't want to spend. They don't want
but
to
why
spend.
will you come to Parliament and propose to spend? And then you go back to your office and decide not to spend.
Because they say they are responsible.
So this is what we mean by, this is what we mean by actually deviating from your budget. That is what we mean by fiscal indiscipline. Because if you look at goods and services, for example, you budget to spend 6.7 billion, and then you did 3.8 billion. Now, goods and services is what makes the ministries, departments, and agencies of government to run, to function. What it means is that you are paying workers every month, and yet you don't give them the tools to work with. That's fiscal indiscipline.
That's goods and services?
Goods and services.
So they are not spending on goods and services.
Yes,
so,
they are not releasing the money.
So let's say get fund. What will happen?
So get fund is a transfer, is statutory, but goods and services go to ministries, departments and agencies. They buy their stationery from that, they buy fuel from that, you know, the input that they need to work as a ministry, to perform government work.
So like roads ministry?
Yes, like road ministry.
So if they need to go and do a recce on some road in Hamile, they don't have money.
They don't have money to go because the minister has not released funds to them.
What is the minister doing with the funds?
So that is the question we have to ask. Because at the end of it all, instead of spending as they plan to 229 billion that they were supposed to raise, right? The minister is telling us that they have raised up to 222. And all that
they projected to raise 225.
26
from tax.
Yes.
Okay. And they were
no, from revenue generally.
General, all kinds
including
of revenue,
grants,
including tax.
Yes, and they are saying that by the end of this year, they would have raised 222 billion Ghana cedis, and all that money is spent. What it means is that the minister has spent, but where the minister is supposed to spend, as approved by Parliament, is not where we are seeing the money.
Where did he spend then?
So he has to come and answer what he did with the money.
Is the money gone?
Because, yeah, the money is gone. Because you budget, among others, to do 6.7 billion Ghana cedis for goods and services, you did 3.8 billion. And when you spend somewhere, if you still spend the money that you got.
But how do you know the money has been spent? How does Parliament?
Oh, it reported in the budget. The budget has the data.
But reporting is he doesn't add what it was for?
Yeah. For most of them,
the minister can come to Parliament and say, "I've spent 100 million."
Yes, and that's why we have to interrogate, because for most of them, they are aggregate data.
What's that?
Aggregate. You give a lump sum data in terms of how much you spent on something, but there may be a lot of other things under it. If you disaggregate, then you will see. But the budget doesn't give those details.
Oh,
as it
I
presents.
see. So it says things in macro terms.
Yes.
And attributes some
most of the time, yes, in macro terms.
So you have an idea of what is spent.
So if they say, for example, Feed Ghana.
A project called Feed Ghana.
Yeah, they spent 10 million Ghana cedis.
On Feed Ghana.
And the Feed Ghana, there are goods and services that you have to buy. Right. And so if you disaggregate it, all those, you won't get those details unless an auditor audits it So that is why the Auditor General has to audit and report to Parliament. But the budget itself will not give you all those details. And so we are saying that if you project to spend a certain amount of money, 32 billion Ghana cedis on capital spending, and you did 11 billion Ghana cedis, it means that you haven't implemented some programs. And these programs happen to be the priority programs of the government. Programs such as the CODES program was not implemented.
What's
the
CODES?
National CODES program.
The 1,000 CODES.
Yeah, the 1 million.
It was launched
CODES.
by the president.
Yeah, but it wasn't implemented. Launching is different from implementing.
But have you been in government before? Do governments launch something when they are not sure whether
a lot. The 24-hour economy was launched. Nkokon Kitinkiti was just launched last week.
But they brought it. They brought some people.
Yeah, the year is ending.
But they brought some
so how much have they spent? They've spent less than what they budgeted to spend on that.
I'm not sure I get it. So the coding, President Mahama was there. They launched it.
They launched it.
Young men are doing 1,000.
They allocated 100 million Ghana cedis. They haven't spent one cedi.
How will
the minister didn't release? Yeah, the minister said it in the budget, and so they have reallocated 100 million Ghana cedis for the 2026 budget for the same program. Same as the Women Development Bank, 50 million allocated. They haven't established the bank, and so it has featured again. In fact, the amount that was allocated for the development bank for women was far less than the money required to open a bank in Ghana. So that program was not implemented. It has featured again in the 2026.
Because the Bank of Ghana regulations will be a problem.
Yes, there are laws governing the requirement for establishing financial institutions.
Even if it's by state?
Yes, even if it's by state. The state has to obey the laws the state makes.
So the
first.
state will what, pay the money to Bank of Ghana?
No.
When the state is opening a new bank?
Yeah, when they open a new bank, they have to put in the money as capital, right? The capital requirement, okay? And I think it's about 400 million. You know,
at this time?
Yes. So in the 2026 budget, they have now put 400 million there. We are hoping that that will also be implemented because we have cases of allocations being made and programs not being implemented. So that is the case. Big Push, for example, you allocated 13 billion Ghana cedis and you issued authorization for contracts to be awarded covering only 7.6 billion Ghana cedis. And this is commitment. It is not release. In actual fact, the releases are not up to more than 2 billion Ghana cedis of the 13 billion Ghana cedis. So the Big Push hasn't been implemented. Contractors have been given contracts. They are not given any money. And the year is ending. And this is supposed to be the allocation for 2025. Now you go ahead to allocate another 30 billion Ghana cedis for 2026 when you have no release funds from the 2025 allocation.
Okay.
So the fiscal policy of the government actually broke down. The revenue side, they are not achieving the targets. For example, grants and total revenues and grants, they had a shortfall of about 8 billion Ghana cedis. Tax revenue, they have a shortfall of about 9 billion Ghana cedis. Right. And then you come to the expenditure side. CAPEX, 32 billion, you did 11 billion. Goods and services, 6.7, you did 3.8 billion. So both on the revenue side and the expenditure side, the government deviated completely from the budget that was approved by Parliament.
Okay. Producer, that will be the end of our first part. Let me come to the second part where I'm asking some questions about the one everybody knows. Honorable Minister, if you draw a line in a white paper like this and you write NPP here and NDC here, NPP dollar rate, some call it 16, some call it 15.
No,
NDC dollar rate is 10.
We ended at 14.
Okay, no, they do year on year, November to November.
Yeah, 14.
No, November to November, not when you ended.
No, you are talking about the average.
No,
and that's not what we do.
Year on year, November.
No, you are talking about year on year.
Yeah, that's what they are saying. That last year November compared to this year November.
You don't do that comparison. For exchange rate, you do it at the time.
So month on month.
Yes.
Okay,
or
fair
even
enough.
Day on day.
Okay, so you said you ended January.
Yes.
January, you said you ended on 14.
Yeah.
Now the dollar is 10.
It's 11.
Well,
10.9.
Bank of Ghana
11.
is publishing 10.9. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's 11.
So any cursory look at these figures will suggest that the NDC management of the economy was better than the NPP management of the economy. They also put up another indicator, inflation. At the time you were leaving, over 20%. Currently, single digits, something around 8%. First time it's happened since the old NDC administration of Professor Mills in 2009.
Single digit.
Single digits. At 8. Single digits, 8. There have been single digit 9, I think, during Foyata's early times, and perhaps 10. But this is single digit 8, coming from 20. Now, these indicators are clear to anyone that surely the NDC administration must be performing better than the NPP administration. You were the last Minister of Finance of the last NPP government. Do you get embarrassed when you look at these figures?
I hope you will take your time and listen to me.
We have all the time.
No interruption.
We have all the time.
Okay. So first of all, let's look at the forex, the exchange rate. When the cedi is strong, it's good for us, but it's good for importers. It's bad for exporters because Ghana's exports become more expensive globally. The demand for it then goes down, which means that growth will be affected, jobs will not be created because our exports are produced in Ghana. So we need to have that context in mind. And this is why it's always important to balance it. Balance your intervention such that both importers and exporters, none of them gets worse off. That is fundamental. Number two, if you look at the level of intervention by the Bank of Ghana now, I even expect the rate to be 8 or below 8 cedis to $1. Why do I say that? Under the IMF program, and even before then, by 2022, our international reserves had gone down to less than 2 months of import cover. A decent one will be 3 months of import cover, but you could go up to 4 months or even above 4 months of import. That gives you security. Mm-hmm. In the event of an international shock, you can withstand that. Mm-hmm. So we signed on to the IMF program, and the agreement was that we will start building the reserves. And when you are building the reserves, you cannot be intervening on the market at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so what we call intervention budget, how much forex the Bank of Ghana can put on the market. We were restricted to only $80 million a month. $80 million a month.
Okay, hold
That's how much Bank of Ghana could put on the market.
Let's understand it better. When you say put on the market, what does it mean?
Put intervention.
So you give it to who?
To those who are in need of dollars.
You dash them dollars?
Not though. They have to bring cedis before they get dollars. Right.
So
you are
anybody at all, somebody wants to pay his child's school fees, you give him dollars.
If you want that, and you have documents that can support that.
So you go to Bank of Ghana?
You go to to the commercial banks. Because Bank of Ghana doesn't just throw it onto the market.
So you go to commercial banks and say,
they do it through commercial banks.
I need $100,000.
Yes.
I will give you cedis.
Yes.
Then they give it to you at that rate, yes, at the Bank of Ghana rate.
So you enter in a bank, they advertise their rates. If you want to go in an exchange or you go to the Forex Bureau. Mm-hmm. But the bank rate is somehow different from the Forex. That's why you have multiple.
But how is Bank of Ghana able to do that? Because you have a lot of dollars?
No, because the commercial banks have savings in the Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
And so Bank of Ghana can give them. And they make the request for the dollars.
Okay.
And so they give them in exchange for their cedis. And I'm saying that during our time, we were restricted to do only $80 million a month.
Okay, so because you are intervening in the equation between dollar and cedi, you are intervening on the side of the cedi.
Yes. You are intervening
on the side of the cedi.
To favor the cedi.
To favor the cedi,
because as you put more dollars onto the market, the cedis become
on the demand and supply.
Yes, the cedis become
so
stronger.
if you don't intervene at all, then they have to go to forex bureaus,
yes,
or even wherever the commercial bank gets the dollar from,
yes,
and it might be more expensive.
Yeah,
and that will affect.
They may not even have it.
They may not even have it.
Once they don't have the dollar is scarce.
Okay, so now we understand the intervention.
And when the supply of the dollar is scarce, then
the price of the dollar will go up. So now we understand the intervention. So you said you were allowed to do what?
Only $80 million a month. We couldn't do more than that.
You put that for intervention.
And so we were, yes. And so we were building our reserves, the international reserves. By the end of 2024, we had built up to almost $9 billion United States dollars in reserves.
But why? I mean, this 2024, this is an election year.
But you said you would interrupt me.
No,
so
I need to clarify. Why were you obeying the IMF? How will they know if you have intervened more than 80 million?
Oh, but the IMF, have surveillance.
They are here.
They have surveillance, and then you have to report to them every time.
But why did you accept it? This is an election year.
But you sign a program, and you have to follow the program.
Ah, okay.
If you don't follow the program, the IMF program has come to an end.
And IMF will say we are withdrawing.
Yeah.
And you are worse off.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So once you sign on to an IMF program, you have to implement it.
So IMF said build your reserves.
Yes.
And so you can intervene with only
$80 million.
Okay, so then by the end of 2024, what happened?
We built the reserves. Bank of Ghana built up to $9 billion of reserves, which was 4 months of import cover. So we had built from less than 2 months of import cover to 4 months of import cover. And so the objective was met.
Mm-hmm.
And what we built was actually in excess of the IMF target for the reserves,
Mm-hmm.
which meant that by July, they should have allowed us to intervene more than the 80 million. But the IMF said they were still not satisfied. They wanted us to get to certain level. So by the end of 2024, I think about the end of November or early December, they lifted the restriction.
IMF
lifted
during your
the
time as minister,
yes,
you were still there.
They lifted the restriction.
From 80 to what?
They said we could intervene beyond that, but they didn't give us how much we could intervene, which meant that with the reserves haven't been built enough, we could intervene by any amount. So we lost power.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't stay to benefit from
that.
This new government came, the Bank of Ghana started using the reserves that we built and was intervening in billions of dollars.
How much?
In the market.
How much?
Data shows that about $8 billion so far from January.
8 billion?
Yes. That gives you an average of $1 billion. And so a government that is doing $80 million a month, $80 million a month, and ending the year with an exchange rate of 14 cedis to $1. And a government that is intervening $1 billion, average of $1 billion a month, do you expect only 3 cedis divergence, difference between what we left and what they currently are quoting?
Well, that's an interesting argument.
You expect
I
more.
wish the finance minister was here to challenge. This is a very interesting argument.
Yeah, but the data is there.
The data is there.
It's there.
So how much is the reserves today then?
The reserves today, they said, is about 11.8 billion.
Yeah, but that means they built.
Of
So
course,
they inherited 9 billion.
Yes.
They've spent 8 billion holding the city.
Yes.
So that's left with 1 billion.
Yeah.
So they brought in 10
No,
billion.
but more has been coming from cocoa sales, cocoa
yes,
export, gold exports.
Yes,
so
yes.
they have been building as they intervene.
But it means they haven't done badly for holding 11 billion.
No, but we would have expected that if we left
9 billion,
9 billion by now, the reserve should have been more.
If they were not intervening.
Yes, it should have been more.
Is intervention, would you have done the same thing with the intervention?
Well, intervention is good sometimes, where you have to balance the market. You intervene, but you don't intervene every time.
But if you don't intervene, the dollar will run amok.
Because
the politicians will come back on it.
If you intervene excessively, you kill your export base.
Ah, yes.
And once you kill your export base, then you kill your production base. Unemployment will increase. Growth will suffer. That is why you have to balance.
Oh, so you have to achieve a balance.
Yes.
So even America sometimes devalues.
Yeah, they
even
do.
UK
They do. China devalues all the time when they want to increase exports.
Yeah. Because the exports is the real backbone.
Yeah,
not the imports.
No, not the imports.
The imports is consumption.
Import is like you are building the economies of other countries.
And that's merely consumption.
Creating jobs in other countries, growing their economy.
And you are just consuming.
Yeah.
But the exports is generating.
Yeah, it's generating growth and generating jobs.
I see. And then bringing in income as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that is the Forex story.
So if I go on the streets tomorrow and I talk to exporters, will they tell me what you are saying? Will they,
but
will they be unhappy?
You've been hearing exporters complaining.
Well, they say they are MPP exporters.
Oh, well, that's for the people of Ghana to judge. But exporters have been complaining.
I see.
And so that is the Forex story.
Okay,
and that is why I keep saying that these guys haven't done anything, strategic. There is no any strategic policy that is guiding the foreign exchange policy.
But the optics look better than the NPP.
Yeah,
one.
of course, the optics look better. That is why we're saying that we should be looking at the long-term effect and not the short-term, just for purposes of the optics. Because today, cocoa prices, have increased, gold prices have increased, gold prices are above $3,000. There were times gold prices were below $1,000. And the prices of gold are very volatile. Something can happen globally and the price will go down significantly. Now, your reserves have been depleted. What do? That is why you build reserves. To cushion you against international or external shocks. And so I'm talking about the long-term effect, because you must know that as a developing country, your dependence on gold, you know, which has prices that are very volatile, must be balanced against shocks and what you will do to cushion yourself when you have the shocks. Remember, when our reserves decreased to less than 2 months of import cover, that was the time we lost the capital market.
What do you mean say we lost the capital market?
Yes, following COVID, we lost the international capital market,
okay.
Right?
When we were not able to borrow anymore.
Yes, and also at that time, the advanced countries were increasing their interest rates, which made investment in those countries attractive. So a lot of investors from the advanced countries started reversing their investment to invest in countries that were increasing their rates. And that's what we call investment reversals. And so more forex left the economy. Okay, and so we had shortage. Yes, so we had shortage of forex in the economy, and that is why the dollar was so high relative to the cedi. Okay, and so if you don't build and have a long term in mind, any similar shocks could put you off gear, and that's why long term planning is so important.
Let's talk about inflation.
But even with that, apart from using our reserves. Their current foreign exchange policy is built around what we call the gold purchase program, which the MPP introduced in 2022. The Bank of Ghana issued a statement
the gold purchase.
Last week.
Is it gold for oil?
Gold purchase program, where the Bank of Ghana buys gold from the gold producers using our local currency, which the MPP introduced in 2022. The statement by the Bank of Ghana showed that will be the anchor of their forex intervention. They want to continue to intervene, but not as much as they had done over the last 8 or 9 months. But that will be dependent on the sources they are generating from gold purchase program. Now, let me come to the inflation issue. This is not the first time we have recorded single-digit inflation, Paul.
Yeah.
In fact, in our history, the Akufo-Addo government is credited to have recorded the longest period of single-digit inflation. 2 years running.
Oh, longer than Dufour's time?
2 years running.
What year was this? 18?
That was 2018 and 2019. 7.9 in 2018 and 9% in 2019.
7.9 in 2018?
Yes, and 9% in 2019. A very long period. But when you want to address inflation, you must first of all understand inflation. What is it? To simplify it, we say more money chasing fewer goods. So to address it, you can address it from the money side or from the goods side.
Or pumping more goods in.
Yes.
Increasing supply.
Increasing supply. So the supply side, your economics is good.
A little bit.
The supply side or the demand side.
Yeah.
Now this government has not increased growth because their macro policy framework emphasizes demand management. So rather, the Bank of Ghana has withdrawn 62 billion Ghana cedis from the market.
I saw that.
Through their open market operations.
So how does it happen?
What we call sterilization.
Please explain.
They sell bills like bonds. And then people who have money will buy and keep the paper. And then the money you buy with, they take it back to the Bank of Ghana.
But I take the paper so I get more money?
No, you take the paper, there is interest.
So I get more money?
But once you are holding the paper, the money in circulation is gone to the Bank of Ghana. So people are holding papers and not physical cash.
Yeah, but they made it attractive for people to come for the
papers.
Of
course. That is why I'm saying that it is a policy.
But
it's a monetary policy.
But it's not a bad policy.
To them, it's not bad. But when you have taken 62 billion Ghana cedis out, what you see is that there will not be money in the market. And this is why traders are complaining nobody's buying. This is why farmers are complaining nobody's buying their produce. This is the reason.
The government now has to buy the produce themselves.
Okay? So why would the government go and buy the produce when the effect of the government policy is affecting purchases, demand?
So under what conditions should they sell the papers for the money? Under what conditions?
You see, both Bank of Ghana and the Ministry for Finance have resorted to short-term borrowing. And investors like you are also interested in short-term borrowing because it's more profitable. It's more profitable.
That's the paper you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the paper I'm talking about. It's more profitable. And so Bank of Ghana has...
So the money will come back?
The money will come back, but not today.
If I give them 100 cedis and I take a paper,
yes,
and when I'm ready, they will give me 150 cedis.
So I'll tell you, for example, so Bank of Ghana does 54-day bills. So if you buy at the end of the 54 days, they have to pay interest. They usually don't pay you the capital, the money. It's the interest that they pay.
So they keep.
And a lot of people plow the interest back, you know, so that they can maximize, they can accumulate, right? And so in the meantime, the money is in the Bank of Ghana. It is not in the market for spending.
But
so once we invest it, yeah, that's individual decision. But I'm saying that the government could have decided not to take out so much, but rather increase the supply side. So
I get what you
yes,
mean.
so there are
this
two
is
ways.
a measure to reduce physical cash, liquid cash.
Yeah,
on
liquid cash in the market.
It's a measure that
yes.
economists use anytime they have
yes.
a problem.
Yes.
And when they are not capable of pushing the supply.
Yes.
But the supply is more expensive to push.
Why is it so expensive to push? If you incentivize private sector, they will supply. If you invest in infrastructure, if you invest in infrastructure, for example, it will facilitate investment. And
if we look
but
at
if you decide to spend,
the basket of goods for inflation, milk
yes.
is there, and the price of milk is becoming high. You say we should produce more milk.
Of course, it's demand and supply.
That will take a while, so we may have to import it.
It's demand and supply.
Yeah, but we may have to import them.
Yes, but that is why I'm talking about long-term planning. If you are interested in short-term planning, then the long-term will hit you hard.
So you're saying that
and so this government is interested in optics, as you rightly said.
So what we have done is that here's a basket of goods. The milk is there, the sugar is there. But people don't have money to buy, so the price doesn't change.
Yeah, the price hasn't changed. In fact, the prices have actually increased. And this is why I'm saying that the inflation we have is inflation on paper. I'll give you some information which will...
Is it not the same basket of goods they used to determine?
It's the same basket, but
if the price have increased, why are they not recording it? Why is the data not captured?
No, they've actually captured it. So but the inflation figure they give out, again, is aggregate.
What does that mean?
It's aggregate figure. You know, inflation is a general price, you know, increase. So I say that inflation is now 6.88%, right, year on year. But if I go into the basket to see the rate of increase in prices for specific commodities, that is where I see the details.
But some
prices are
driving it down.
Yes.
Some will be driving it down.
Of course, there are some commodities the prices will go down, and depending on the weights associated with them, it will drive it down.
And
but there are some commodities.
Seasonal tomatoes is in season.
Yes. But there are some commodities, the prices are higher, but are often dwarfed by the generality of inflation.
What are we seeing?
And so the worry is that if the prices of the commodities that are increasing happen to be basic commodities, that is where inflation could be lower and yet prices remain high and people continue to suffer.
But basic commodities is what many people are using.
Yes. So for example, water. Water. Because we are dealing with year on year. September 2024, the rate of increase in water price was 2.8%.
You went sachet water?
Yeah, 2.8%.
Okay.
September this year, 2025, the rate of increase was 3.6%. In August, it was actually higher, 3.9%. So you will say that the rate of increase this year, September this year, was higher than September last year, when inflation was higher. And the increase for water was lower. At the time inflation is lower, single digit, the increase is higher for water. Then you come to milk.
Yes, I know that one.
Other dairy products and eggs, which are put together as one classification. September 2024, the rate of increase was 8.6%. And these are data from Ghana Statistical Service, which reports on the inflation. September this year, 2025, it was 20.81% against 8%.
That's significant.
That's significant. In fact, in August 2025, it was 37.1%. I'm talking about eggs, milk. That's why you go to the market. Yes, that's why you go to the market and somebody who bought milk will tell you, you said last year was hard, but the price I buy milk today is far, far higher. So the single-digit inflation really means nothing to the person who buys eggs or milk. You can come to cooking oil, palm oil, groundnut oil. We call it oils and fats. That's the classification. September 2024, the rate of increase was 7%. September 2025, the rate of increase is 44%.
Hey!
August, it was 53.5%. In 2025.
Well.
Then you come to fruits and nuts. September 2024, it was 6.1%. September this year, 34%. And in August this year, it was 49%. That's the rate of increase.
So prices are going up?
Yes. Prices for basic commodities. Yes.
Basic are going up.
If you come to non-alcoholics, it has gone down, for example.
Non-alcoholics like...
alcoholics, for example. It has gone down. Alcoholics, yes.
Has gone down.
That one has gone down.
But why don't you call alcoholic basic?
Yeah, but how many
You mean
people,
imported alcohol or you mean pito? You mean pito?
Of course, the alcohol, most of the alcoholics are imported.
So you don't mean palm wine and pito?
I don't mean that. But I'm talking about
so like
basic.
Beer has gone down.
Yeah, but water is so basic. You see, cooking oil is so basic.
What accounts for...
Egg is so basic. Milk is so basic.
Yeah, what accounts for the alcohol going down?
Well, I don't know, but that is the statistic, the data provided by Statistics.
What else has gone down?
Cocoa drinks. September 2024 was 6.2%. September 2025, 14%. August 2025 was 17.6%.
Cocoa drinks.
Cocoa drinks. I've given you fruits and nuts. Coffee and coffee substitutes. September 2024 was 6.1%. September 2025, 34.4%. August 2025 was actually 49% higher. So if you look at these basic commodities within the inflation basket, inflation may have gone down to single digit, but yet people are suffering. Cost of living is still high because the basic things people associate with, the prices have not gone down. Okay, well,
I'm quite confused, but
so that is the inflation.
But the minister aware of
that
this?
is the inflation story. The minister
minister
knows.
aware?
So we are saying that if you are spending, right, and then putting more money into the economy, it helps. Even when prices are increasing, people have money to buy. Okay? But when the people need it, yet they don't have money to buy, the prices even become, problematic, more problematic. And that is why rice farmers and maize farmers should be calling on government to come and...
Hasn't it always been like that? Don't they always suffer from people not buying their goods?
When demand is weak, but you don't see that regularly. You don't see that regularly, Paul.
Wow.
So while things are so difficult with the basic commodities, the government priority is not about the people. The government rather has decided to go and purchase 4 helicopters, 2 executive jets, and a ship. That's the priority.
A ship for the Navy?
Yes, that's their priorities. At this material time.
Is that not a conversation coming from behind, from the last parliament, where the MPP felt that the need for presidential jets? Is that not the build-up of all of that?
The Ghanaian people said they were not necessary. They were not the priority of the nation. It hasn't changed today. The priority of the nation is not those. If you even want to buy helicopters for the military, 2 is okay for now.
How many are they buying?
4. And executive jets 2. Maybe 1 could suffice us for now. In addition to the presidential jet, which has been, repaired and brought back.
Wow.
And so the government needs to prioritize the people. And we are not seeing that. You take money out of the market, people don't have money to buy. And then you use the money left to go and purchase these aircrafts. That is not prioritizing the people. And this is why we are saying that they need to look at it again. And on top of that, workers, you give them 9%.
Yeah.
This year, 2025, you gave them 10%, which was lower than inflation. Which means that the whole of this year, with the 10%, workers have lost real income because inflation was higher than the 10%.
But now it's 9%, inflation
now
is
it's 9%. But the government promised that when things get better, you remember the president's meeting with Labour? When things get better, they'll be given decent salaries. And so when things have gotten better, as we are told, because the minister went to tout the achievements, how they have managed the economy better than we did. One expected that you give them more to recover the losses in their real income. You give them 9%. And then you want to go and buy aircraft. So, Paul,
is it true that the salary of MMDCs is being increased from 5 to 35,000 cedis a month?
Paul, I've seen something like that circulating.
Wow. But to get ready for messages, we'll come to you in a bit.
I've seen something like that circulating, but I can't confirm. I haven't seen any official communication to that extent. Now, I saw a news report somewhere. The minister said that if it was easy to do, why didn't I do it?
If all the things you are saying is
easy to do, why didn't I do it?
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, but I think people need to research. If he had done some research on how we performed, let me tell you, for example, on the revenue side, whilst he is missing his revenue target, we actually exceeded our targets.
Oh, he announced to Parliament that he's missed the revenue target, the GRA revenue targets he proposed.
The data he presented to Parliament shows that the revenue target has been met. Total revenue and grants has been missed Q1 to Q3 by 8 billion Ghana cedis. Tax revenue by 9 billion Ghana cedis. Okay? And even the figures he's giving about the end of the year, they will still have a shortfall of between 3 to 4 billion Ghana cedis. In our time, in 2024, for example, budget for total revenue and grants was 177.2 billion. Actual was 186. 177.2 billion. Actual was 186 billion. That's more than 10 billion excess.
Excess, yes.
Domestic revenue. Budget was 174 billion. Actual was 184.9 billion.
Oh,
another 10.
Okay.
Tax revenue. Budget was 143 billion. Actual was 151 billion. These were our performance. And they are captured in the 2025 budget the minister presented to Parliament.
Exceeding your target?
Yes, we exceeded our target. And if we talk about the spending, whilst he was supposed to do 1.5% of GDP for capital spending, we did 4.6%. We invested more. And that is why the economy grew higher than what the economy grew this year.
What was the projection
This year, they are projecting to end the year with a growth of 4.8%. We did 5.7%.
In 24?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
We did 5.7%. They are, projecting to grow at 4.8% again for 2026, which is lower than what we did. Now the government said they've stabilized the economy. We have stabilized the economy. Inflation is down. Fiscal deficits are down. We have recorded a primary surplus. The economy is stabilized. Stability is supposed to drive growth. And so at the time you have stabilized the economy, you are projecting to grow at 4.8%. Where is that stability? And the economy in 2024, which you said was recklessly managed.
Criminally managed.
Criminally managed, grew at 5.7%. When it wasn't stabilized, the economy wasn't stabilized, it generated 5.7% growth. And when the economy is stabilized, it is generating 4.8% this year and 4.8% next year. What kind of economics is that? And so there's a significant disconnect between the stability we are being told and the struggling real economy.
That's quite interesting. Let me see what people are saying about this.
And even when you talk about the stability, it's a cooked stability. I tell you why. The fiscal outturn that they brought for 2024 was cooked. Because they wanted to make us look bad. By 2022, we had agreed with the IMF that we were going to put all arrears together. And every year, we clear some of them for 5 years.
Arrears means government debt.
Government non-payment.
Owed to who?
Non-payment to contractors and suppliers.
Okay.
And every year, we were to clear a part for 4 years. So we even signed what we call arrears clearance, program with the IMF. Now the minister came and forgot about that. Asked ministries and agencies to bring him list of projects they were doing which were not paid for. And he forgot that it is not every project the ministries are doing which are allowed into the government fiscal data. Because only those that are in the budget, and if they are not in the budget, then they have been given commencement certificates. Those are the projects that are allowable.
But if they're not in the budget, how does government pay for it?
So that is why government will not pay for it. But he asked for all that information. And they brought him all information, both allowed and non-allowed. And generated 67 billion Ghana cedis arrears.
By totaling everything?
Yes, and put it in the fiscals and produce the fiscal outcome of 3% deficit in primary balance on commitment basis. And they are saying our economy was not stable. Now, after auditing, the same data he brought together, 18 billion of that has been rejected by the Auditor General.
Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, this 18 billion was in the fiscal. That led to the 3% deficit in primary balance. Has he gone to correct that data? No.
So you are saying that they projected or they put together 67 billion of debts they inherited.
Yes.
Now throwing that into an equation will show the debt to GDP ratio.
Not the debt to GDP ratio. I'm talking about the primary balance, the deficit.
Okay,
the primary balance on commitment
so,
basis.
So what is available?
And that produced about 3%. Now he's saying that he has GDP. Achieved, yes, he has achieved 1.5% surplus. That's what he's saying. But he didn't bring all the arrears that he put last year in determining the primary balance of 3% deficit. He didn't put the same arrears in his equation.
He put the arrears in your equation.
In our equation.
So that your percentages will come
higher.
And then he didn't put
it. He didn't put it.
So
now he has come to say that
he's doing better.
Yes, he will.
This is your allegation.
This is the allegation. It's not an allegation. That's what he did. Because he has now said that he's also now going to clear the arrears over 5 years. The same thing we were doing. So why did you not take the arrears we wanted to clear in 2024 and put that in determining the fiscal outcome by bringing all arrears, including those that occurred before 2024, dating back to 2022?
Worst of is what you say that the Auditor General said 18 billion can
18
be verified.
billion can be verified. And we knew it. We knew
Did
that.
the minister say that in the
We knew that
yesterday?
because, yes, he said it.
That the auditor says 18 billion?
Yeah, he said that. He said only 40 something billion, 43 billion has been validated by the Auditor General out of the 67 billion.
But he used the 67 to make his calculation.
To make his calculation. And now he has to come and change the data. Yet he was still quoting the fiscal balance, right, the primary balance that he attributed to us. So when you have cooked data to make one government look bad, and then you change the formula to make yourself look good, that is stability on paper. It's cooked stability. It does not reflect the real, potential of the economy.
That's interesting. Let me see what people are saying about this. It's already 11 o'clock. Fati, what are people saying?
Thank you, Paul. So, Obama from Tamale says, it's reassuring to see our former Finance Minister, Honorable Dr. Amin Anta, examining and uncovering the misrepresentations and deception in the NDC 2026 budget. Many of us value Dr. Anta's skill in making economics accessible to those without a strong background in the field, and we are thankful for his contributions. I hope the NPP will work hard to regain power in 2028 for Dr. Amin Anta to resume his commendable work at the Finance Ministry. Also coming from Nana Ajwa, she says NPP have the men indeed, quality presentation and great insight. Junior Akbar from Tamale says, my big brother, Dr. Amin Anta, the former Finance Minister of the Republic of Ghana, your good works can never be forgotten. You've tried much as possible to transform Ghana, and I strongly believe that Ghana will never forget about you, inshallah. Kenneth also says, President Mahama has been president for just 10 months and some days. Nothing you say makes them bad. NDC, these few past months is far better than NPP in 8 years. World Links also says, ask the former finance minister which of the two economic principles below are the best as to what the current government is doing. Pumping to stabilize the dollar at 14 as at 7th January 2025 before the former President Nana Addo left the office, and B, pumping dollars to reduce the exchange rate at Ghana cedis 10 as at today. Please, I need education on this. Abdullah Yusuf says, it's quite clear now that the current government is a sham. They are reaping from the previous government's policies what they did not sow, and where it favors them, they take credit for it, and where it doesn't, they blame the previous government for why things are not going well in some sectors. This is why they cannot explain or point to what they have done so far to make the massive gains we are seeing today. Hamdan also says, my regards to my senior brother, Dr. Mohammed Amin Anta. Please tell him I'm working on a project in his honor, which will stand to benefit the youth of the great NPP in Northern Ghana and beyond. Yalfebri also says, good evening, Paul. In fact, you're really educating us this evening. Surely this is one of the reasons why people can't stop watching you. And lastly, coming from Imoro Mohammed, he says the 2026 budget for me hasn't been fair, faithful to me and my fraternity, the teachers of Ghana. The crime is the 9% that has been given to the workers of Ghana, but the government of the day had the courage to increase salaries of presidential staffers by 67%, that notwithstanding, and to add insults to injury, the president also increased the salary of metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives by whopping 600%. This is a testament and confirmation that the NDC's promises are scrapping the Articles 71 to bring about fairness to going to a marriage. A word to the wise is enough. Now back to you, Paul.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm getting quite a few messages as well. Minister, let's talk about confidence then in the economy. From where you sit, you are an opposition member of parliament. You are more likely to say there's no confidence in the economy, but you have to justify it. What are the indicators of confidence?
Paul, I'm an economist to start with, and I was at finance ministry as minister. So where the confidence is dipping, I can understand. You know, one of the closest way to measure market confidence is patronage for government papers, government instruments. Bonds and treasury bills. Right. Now, if you look at the auction performance, the treasury bill auction performance, it's been abysmal.
What does that mean?
Abysmal.
No, the auction.
Before the budget was presented, 45 auctions were done by the government since January, from January. 25 failed.
That was the auction, and how does it fail?
The treasury bills. When government offers the bills, the treasury bills for people to invest in,
so that
they have a target.
So that means government says, I need to raise 2 billion.
Yes.
All of you Ghanaians who can give me 2 billion,
yes,
give me 2 billion.
In 90 days for my bills.
In 90 days,
yes,
I'll give you back 2.4 billion.
Yes.
So Ghanaians go and if
1.5 billion
is able to raise the 2 billion,
yes,
then it's been 100% subscribed.
Yes.
If 3 billion people bring money, then it's been oversubscribed. If it's 1 billion people bring money, it's under subscription. And
that's what I mean by
more
failure.
people bring money than needed, is confidence.
Yes.
When they bring less money than needed, it's lack of confidence.
It's lack of,
It's not because they don't have money. You are saying their money has already been
taken. People have money. People have money. And that is why they will prefer to go to the Bank of Ghana and buy their bills. Because they are sure that they will get it. Because the Bank of Ghana is independent.
Is that not the same thing
when
government is selling?
No. When it
Bank
comes
of Ghana's own is different from government's own?
It's different. Bank of Ghana has their bills for their open market operation. Government of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, does treasury bills. They trust the Bank of Ghana more than they trust the government. That is why investors will put their money in the Bank of Ghana bills instead of putting it in the government treasury bills. They don't trust the government.
Well, I mean, could
and
that
so
not
when
be?
they don't trust you, it means that a time could come when you come and tell them stories. I can't pay because I'm fiscally challenged. The economy has, a shock, and we had to, reprioritize. They don't want that.
But is that not coming from the Akufo-Addo history, where
we had our
people's
own
investments was not given to them?
So we had our own challenges with bonds, but they have their challenges with T-bills.
Yeah, but their challenge is because
government.
Their challenge is because people have lost interest and faith in government.
Yes.
They are also government. People said, "Oh, but the Akufo-Addo time they didn't pay us, so why should I give my money to you people? You won't pay me."
Yeah, but even at that time, treasury bills, we had some failures also, but not as much as the failures we are seeing today.
So their treasury bills have been undersubscribed.
25 out of 45 auctions
have been undersubscribed.
That's about 55%. And so when 55% of your auctions are rejected by investors, okay, it simply means that your credibility collapsed.
Why do you think that's happened? For a government that is showing a strong CD, good numbers in inflation.
Because people think it's cosmetics. They think it's artificial.
Really?
Yes, it's artificial. They don't trust the government. They have no confidence. That's why we are talking about confidence. Okay? And in fact, what is even, more damning is that 2 days after presenting the budget and telling the whole world the good news, we have brought inflation down, exchange rate is, CD is lower relative to the dollar, fiscal surpluses have been achieved. 2 days after you presented that good news, you suffered a damning verdict from investors again.
What happened?
30% under subscription of your T-bills. 2 days after presenting the budget. 30%. This is a damning verdict by investors on the management of the economy. So it is not only 25 out of 45 failing since January, but the most significant one is the auction 2 days after the budget was presented, suffering under subscription by 30%.
That's a serious matter.
So there is no confidence in this economy. And so that is why I'm saying that the much touted about stability is disconnect from the real economy and the financial economy as well. We are not seeing it. Because that should actually engender confidence if all they are saying is true and not cosmetic. But these investors don't just put their money. They also have analysts. They have market analysts who guide them before they decide where to put their money. And if
so, the minister needs a domestic roadshow.
Well, I don't know, but
wow, I see. This is interesting. So, what will be Parliament's role for those of us who want to understand how Parliament works? So we hear ministers. We haven't heard you speak yet.
Yes.
We heard the former Deputy Minister Abena speak today.
Yeah.
So how does
I'll be speaking tomorrow.
Or tomorrow I'll be on the floor.
Yeah, I'll debate tomorrow. And so I'm ready.
Debate means you'll be making your contribution.
Make my comments, yes. My comments on the budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing can change, Will the minister be there to respond to some of these questions?
Yeah, the minister was there today. We are hoping that he will be there tomorrow. Yeah, he was there halfway today to listen to the debate, which was good. That was very positive. Because when the minister sits in there and listens to the concerns people are raising, before we pass appropriation, he has an opportunity to make adjustments.
Oh, he can make adjustments?
Yes, he can make adjustments. Yes, before we do the appropriation. Okay. And so these comments are not for nothing. They are to guide the minister.
So tomorrow you'll be speaking in what capacity? You are the ranking
on Finance Committee.
Okay. And then that's it? After that?
Yeah.
Minority leader and that's it?
No, I'll speak. I think Kojo Opon is also speaking tomorrow.
He's on the same committee?
No, he's ranking on economy. Economy and Development Committee. So
there's a committee called Economy and
Development Committee, which
different from Finance Committee,
which is an offshoot from the previous Finance Committee.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then we also have Budget Committee, which is actually chaired by the minority.
Oh, you separate that?
Yes, it's also from the former Finance Committee. So Koko Kwarteng is chairing the Budget Committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he may also be speaking. I don't know yet, but we have the men who will scrutinize this budget. And in fact, one thing I haven't said, which I would like to also talk about, is that this government is fond of stealing ideas and yet turn around or stealing credit by turning around to claim those credits. The minister has made so much noise about reducing the public debt. right, from 61% in 2024 to 45% today. But what I don't know is what the minister actually did to bring about that reduction. Because the real reduction in our debt came from the debt restructuring that we did. We did a debt restructuring with Eurobond holders. $13.1 billion.
For them to hold back on $13.1 billion.
And through the renegotiation, we managed to get them to cancel outright $5 billion of their debt.
Oh, I see. To dash it to you.
Yeah, to cancel it from the records. And then on top of that, we also benefited from cash flow savings of $4.7 billion, which means that the interest rate was reduced for most of them. Okay, and that gave us about 4.7 billion.
But if you had promised investors that you give them 8%, you convinced them to take less.
To take less, to take 6%. That was part of the negotiation that we did.
Oh, I see.
Under President Akufo-Addo. Okay, we also negotiated with the bilateral creditors, the countries that we owe. You have seen the minister signing some agreement with Great Britain, Germany. He didn't negotiate that. As of February 2024, we had concluded the negotiation. And we accepted. Both sides agreed in principle. And by June, we firmed up. But these countries said they have to now take it to their countries, to take it through their internal approval processes. Some of them said their parliaments have to approve before they sign. And that took that time. And that is why they are now signing, not because this government negotiated that. This is the reason we have been able to reduce the national debt. And then they are also claiming Ghana's credit rating has been increased.
Yes, improved, yes.
Go and read all the reasons for the upgrades by Fitch or Moody's or Standard & Poor's. They always cite that they're restructuring as the main reason for the upgrade. Because Ghana is more solvent now as a result of the debt restructuring.
Because you have renegotiated the debt.
Yes. Yeah, these people want to claim credit for something they haven't done. Secondly, the minister said that we left a debt in the energy sector of about $1.4 billion. But we inherited $2.4 billion.
In 2016?
Yes.
The pay or take or pay and all of that?
Yeah,
the total energy sector debt?
Yes. $2.4 billion.
And you left
1.4. Don't you clap for us? For reducing debts that you accumulated?
Yeah.
And for 8 years, we managed to bring it down to $1.4 billion. And secondly, they said they have renegotiated the power contracts. And they are going to save $250 million. We actually renegotiated these contracts. We took it to Parliament. But Parliament did not pass it before the tenure of Parliament ended. And we were to make a savings of $1.5 billion. Now, these people have come and they said they have renegotiated. And they are going to make savings of $250 million. And they said we should clap for them.
Wow, this is serious.
You come to the lithium agreement. We negotiated the lithium agreement. We wanted to lay in Parliament. These people will not allow us to lay because of the numbers they had. They have come into government and said they have renegotiated the lithium agreement, which has now been laid. When we negotiated it, we negotiated a royalty of 10%. And they said we were bad. Civil society said we were bad. The renegotiated lithium agreement they have brought to Parliament now is a royalty of 5%.
For Ghana?
For Ghana.
From
reduced
10%.
From the 10% Akufo-Addo's government negotiated, which was called bad, to now 5%. And they say they are doing well. We should clap for them.
Wow.
Then you come to the Fiscal Council, which they are again touting. In the budget, the minister talked about reforms, important reforms that he's doing. The Fiscal Council, we took the amendment to Parliament again, but Parliament didn't pass it before the tenure ended. They came into government. Atu brought it back as part of amendment to the Public Financial Management Act. We wanted to do it as part of amendment to the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Then they brought the same content and want to claim credit for it. Having a debt rule that by 2034, Ghana will not borrow beyond 45%. It was part of the content we took to Parliament.
45% of GDP?
Yes. Now they are claiming credit for it. So everything the minister presented in the budget and trying to claim credit for it as being done by their government, they were actually work done by the Akufo-Addo government.
I see. I see.
So, Paul, this is the reality we are faced with. So they should sit down with us. We will generate ideas and share ideas, rather than them trying to paint us so bad and see themselves as angels, whereas, in fact, the devil is better than that angel.
Let me take a last set of text messages, and it's past 11 now. We have to close. If I give us some 3 more messages, and then we call it a day. This is very, very interesting.
Chris Ada says, what the former minister is saying is very true. In books, everything looks nice, but in reality, we the people in the small-scale businesses are suffering. The goods are in the markets, the people need them, but there is no money to buy them. Even when their so-called stabilization of the cedi import duties have gone up, as compared to the era when the dollar was 14, many people are complaining about low patronized of their commodities. Hayford also says, Thank God for this wonderful education. Mohammed Liasa says, I'm monitoring your live from Karaga.
Thank you.
Please send my special regards to our humble, dynamic, competent, knowledgeable, and Ghana's former finance minister and MP for Karaga constituency. Samuel Kelly wants to know if there are any corruption noticed so far in the new government and what they are. I have some few messages also on the Kwabena Dubois case. Yao February says in this stage of the case, the Attorney General's department have conspired with Angela J. Barton to testify as a witness against Mr. Kwabena Dubois. So all the 3 statements and recordings are very important for the defense lawyer to build and prove his case, to tell the court that the said witness is not credible, so the court should not take her statements seriously. Lastly, coming from Atta Ajise, he says the judges in charge of the Aduboahin case should be truthful and act professionally and never allow the government to intimidate them. The whole world is watching. The integrity of the judiciary should be protected. Now back to you, Paul.
Wow. Minister, what will be your last word on this show?
Well, as my colleagues who spoke on the budget today demonstrated, and as we will further demonstrate tomorrow, this budget is a growthless budget. It's a jobless budget. It cannot generate growth. I've given you the data already, in spite of the Mike touted about stability. And if growth is not good, there is no way jobs can be created. And this is why we think that this budget will not deliver the promises the government is making to the Ghanaian people. And so the Ghanaian people must manage their expectations of this budget. This year has been a year of inactivity. Next year will be another year of inactivity. And they will come and give us paper stability. They will come and give us paper achievements, which will not reflect in the lives of the Ghanaian people. But the Ghanaian people must speak up. Through the radio station, through our TV station, they must speak up. When they meet government officials, they must tell them in their face that the honeymoon period is over. They want to see them stop complaining and stop blaming the previous government and deliver the promises that they made to the people of Ghana. So that would be my...
Well, that's Mohammed Amin Anta, always articulate, always a pleasure to talk to him on Good Evening Ghana. He will be presenting tomorrow in Parliament, but all the pieces of the videos we did today will be put on social media so you can see it, share it, and send to your friends, and send to people in Karaga. That's the people he represents in Parliament.
Karaga people, my constituents.
All the people in Karaga says hello. Honorable Amin Anta. Thanks for watching this edition. Good night.